सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
You're listening to Bare Knuckle Bhakti Shorties on the Bhakti Recovery Podcast with Jiva G, coming at you every Monday with a little spiritual something. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're tuning in. We're on step 6. We are on step 6. In the AA, the Alcoholics Anonymous 12 and 12. On step 6, I'm actually going to refer a lot to this book as I'm doing this 6th step because I relate so much to the 12 and 12, especially when it comes to the 6th step, which is we were entirely ready to have, it says in the AA, God remove all these defects of character. And I personally have chosen Krishna as my higher power, so I was entirely ready to have Krishna remove all these defects of character. All, you may ask? All my defects of character? Be very careful what you wish for, my darlings. What I want to do actually, before I kick this off, I want to read the first paragraph of step 6. Mind you, this was written in the, 20 years into the program, probably, I would say the 40s, 50s. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So it was very male-dominated area, open though, but it was generally men. So I'm going to read it, and I would ask you not to take offense, because I do not take any offense. This is a step that separates the men from the boys. Girls, get your mustaches out. Boys, flex those muscles. Sorry. Okay, let me start over again. I have to be serious because this is actually this is a very profound step. This is the step that separates the men from the boys. So declares a well-loved clergyman who happens to be one of AA's greatest friends. He goes on to explain that any person capable of enough willingness and honesty to try repeatedly step 6 on all his faults without any reservations whatsoever has indeed come a long way spiritually and is therefore entitled to be called a man who is sincerely trying to grow in the image and likeliness of his own Creator. Now that is a seriously powerful statement, and something that I highly I see it exactly the same way. I think that if we are constantly ready to have God remove our defects of character, we are very busy in our program. And again, like I say in all the steps, I'll go through the steps, and I'll do that also quickly now to understand what position that we're entering step 6 in, because we've admitted we're powerless in the first step. We have come to believe, we've gotten some faith that Krishna, power greater than ourselves, can restore us to sanity. We've made the effort and a conscious decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna as we understand him. We have, and that's the 3rd step, and then in the 4th step, we've made that inventory, a fearless and moral inventory of ourselves. And in the 5th steps, we've shared that with God, to ourselves, and another human being, the exact nature of those character defects. If you don't like the word character defect, I haven't found something better yet, because I kind of don't want to look at it as a defect, although it is a defect. But I think, in this sensitive world where a lot of people take a lot of offense to words like that, and words do have a strong effect on us. For lack of a better term, I'm going to use those because that's the OG, and I accept it as it is, and take no offense. And also don't say that I am a defective character. Anyway, now we've come to step 6. We've done all of those things, and that is a very important process to come and enter this willingness, because we've talked about them, we've said them out loud, and it's like, oh, let's say that we're homeless for years, yeah, and all of a sudden we're in this very pristine place. This is just like maybe a sort of a metaphor in a way. So we're homeless for years and we're dirty. You don't realize how really dirty you are until you get to a place where everyone else is clean, or to a building or a place where where somebody reminds you it's not normal for your socks to stick to your calves. It's not normal for you to smell so bad that other people have to leave. At some point, you don't smell them anymore. So when you don't smell yourself anymore. So when you're doing the steps and you're cleansing yourself and you've done all these things and you've pointed to the dirty spots, the place that needs cleaning, that needs purification, then you're ready to throw away those clothes and take a shower. And sometimes it's difficult for people to see that themselves. So, but being entirely ready, this is a huge order. It's huge. How many of us are ready? Am I ready? Am I ready? Am I entirely ready to have all of them, 100%, even the ones that I take pleasure in? I take pleasure in some character defects. I take pleasure in, and not only pleasure, sometimes these character defects have been my survival skills, and I don't know how to let go of those things. One of my defects of character is never admitting weakness. I don't like to admit weakness. It's horrible for me. It's like standing naked in front of a whole bunch of people. I don't want to do that. Am I entirely ready to have God remove those things that have protected me for so long? And then I have to ask myself, have I done a thorough third step? Have I made that decision, that conscious decision to turn my will and my life, which means everything, over to the care of God as I understand Him? So as you might connect the dots now and see that this is not a one and done, this is a continual process. This is a commitment, a process of purification, and a very, very practical, hands-on, simple way of doing it. Pointing right to where the dirt is. There it is. There's the smudge. We've named it. I've shared it. God, can you please help me clean that? God, will you am I ready? Well, that's the 7th step, is to ask God to do it. But the 6th step is being ready to do it. So it's really a difficult process. Here, another paragraph. Sure, I was beaten, absolutely licked. My own willpower just wouldn't work on alcohol. Change of scene, the best efforts of family, friends, doctors, and clergymen got no place with my alcoholism. I simply couldn't stop drinking, and no human being could seem to do the job for me. But when I became willing to clean house and then ask a higher power, God, as I understand Him, to give me release from my obsession to drink, the obsession was vanished. It was lifted right out of me. And I have to say, this was my experience as well with my addiction. It was lifted immediately. My obsession was lifted, and I cannot say that that I will never. There's not a day in my life that I'm not oozing with gratitude towards that, because that was the main thing that was in the way of me having any relationship with myself, God, or another human being. You know, this becoming willing is also a process. It's a daily process. It's a lifetime process. And when the program becomes sort of second nature to us, just as Krishna consciousness does, when it becomes second nature, it becomes a lot simpler and easy to identify. All of those things. It's the very first 4-step I did, it was really, really shallow. I mean, I won't say it was shallow, but like that list, that inventory, it was like all the obvious things. But as I started living in the program and living in the solution and working my steps and having association and fellowship with others and doing the work, it started to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Here's another paragraph I'd like to share. So, step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, is AA's way of stating the best possible attitude one can take in order to make the beginning on a lifetime job. This does not mean that we expect all our character defects to be lifted out of us. The drive to out of us as the drive to drink was. A few of them, maybe, but with most of them, we shall have to be content with patient improvement. We shall have to be content with patient improvement. And this is key. Patience and acceptance. And knowing that everything that's happening to us, when we are in a very yucky situation, maybe a situation we don't want to be in, maybe a resentful situation, or a conflicted situation, whether that's with somebody or with ourselves or with a decision or whatever it is. For me, I have to look at my inventory and what my part in it is. And I will emphasize, this is not about blame. This is really about trying to get a neutral standpoint, an unemotional standpoint, so that we can improve. Patient improvement. So, when we're entirely ready, what does this mean? How does this look practically? How does that look when I say, okay, God, I'm entirely ready? What does that look like? I mean, it has a million faces, because we are, each and every one of us are a separate individual. And this is what I love about the experience in a 12-step program. There is a universal law, but there's also individual karmic experiences that we all, and the karmic processes that we all have to kind of go through individually in order to have certain realizations. And that being said, each and every one of us, it can look differently. Maybe one can pray for patience. And if it's proper for you and you can learn it in a soft way, then you get the patience somehow. But if another one would pray for the same patience, they will get only things in the way in order for them to learn it. I prayed for patience. I got a traffic jam. I prayed for tolerance. I got people pressing every button that there is. I prayed for love. I got a child who is defiant. That's just an example. To learn unconditional love. I prayed for being able to chant nicely. I got a disturbed mind. These are the things. It's not like a wish list for Santa Claus. To be entirely ready means I'm entirely ready, come what may. Whatever those lessons look like for me, I'm ready with constant tolerance. And that's something that is a long process, and it is possible though. And when you do it for years, when you do it for months, some people takes a really long time to learn these things, and some people it's really quick. I've seen both in myself and in others. There are certain processes that happened really quickly for me because karmically I didn't need to learn them. Other processes I'm still battling with after almost freaking 30 years of sobriety. It's just the way it is. I'm not here to compare myself with someone else or say, oh, poor me or whatever. That's not going to help me. It doesn't serve me in any way. It serves me to be open to the fact that I am ready, come what may, to have Krishna remove these defects. Even if it means me being naked and embarrassed in front of anyone. What is this? Here's something. We who have escaped these extremes are apt to... Wait a minute. No, I got to go before that. No, let me not. No, I'm not going to read that. That takes too long. This is really good. So here it says, looking again at those defects, at all of our defects that we have named, right, in our fourth and fifth steps, we are still unwilling to give up. We sought to erase the hard and fast lines that we have drawn. Perhaps we shall be obliged, in some cases, still to say, this I cannot give up. But we should not say to ourselves, this will never, I will never give up, or this will never, I will never be ready to have that removed. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely ready to aim towards perfection. Aim towards perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous, and rebellion may be fatal, especially for addicts and alcoholics. It's no joke, people. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move towards God's will for us. Kaboom. I mean, there's not much more that I could even like. This is AA as it is. This is AA as it is. Yeah. And it wasn't even like, I mean, think about this in the Bhagavad Gita, how Arjuna just fought against that the whole time as he was surrendering to Krishna. And at some point, he was entirely ready to have Krishna remove his attachments. He was entirely ready at some point to have Krishna remove everything that stood in the way for him to have that battle of Kurukshetra, to accept everything in his life, no matter how painful it was. And that is truly something that we strive for, each and every one of us. Even if you don't know that, you do. I do. I strive to be in that position because that is a position of true surrender, to be able to lie in the lap of God and know that no matter what happens, and to have God be completely ready, to have God cleanse me. Here I am, I stand before you, all of my faults, all of my everything that I do, say, am, breathe, do, eat, everything. I give that to you, dear Krishna. Do with me as you please. Being in that position is full surrender. And this is where I would love to live on a daily basis. That would be the mood I would like to live on a daily basis. Reading the Bhagavad Gita helps me so much, looking at that process. And, it's not just, and this is the thing, it's not just something that happened to some guy named Arjuna and Krishna 5,000 years ago in the Bhagavad Gita. This is an actual, tangible thing to help us realize the same thing. And these steps are such a simple way to achieve that. And with all of the Vedas and the knowledge and the wisdom of all of the Vedas and the holiness of all of the Vedas, we have everything we need. And the only thing that stands in the way is ourselves, our conditioning, our karmic reactions. So I would love to be able to be in the position to have Krishna, to be ready 100% to have Krishna remove all our defects, all of my defects of character. But like I said, there are certain things that I might be carrying from lifetimes and lifetimes. And I do believe that often it is an act of providence. It is a divine intervention. You see, when we show ourselves ready, Krishna does a lot of things. And he's, in a way, it's kind of like the father. He would say, like, yeah, you really aren't entirely ready. You might think you are, but you're not. But the more ready we are, the more vulnerable we are, the most honest that we are with ourselves and God. In like step 5, in another human being, God will reciprocate. Krishna will come 10 steps closer. And that is fact, as it is. Anyway, I think I even have more to say about it, the 6th step. But it's just something to experience. I think my own experience has been that when I honestly can sit here vulnerably, and that's only moments in my life, and be entirely ready, the door closes very quickly for me, because real life in the world goes on, and all of my defense mechanisms, all of those character defects, and all of those things start to come into play again. The terminal coolness, the terminal uniqueness, the bodily problems, the emotional problems, the all of these things, they just start dancing around like a damn circus in my head. But there are moments where I feel it. There are moments where I feel that close connection. The door that I slam shut. It's me who's doing it. It's not Krishna. He's just waiting for us. So it's not like, oh, here I am, I'm entirely ready. Krishna didn't do anything, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm entirely ready. Alone, that statement, and I've said that statement before in the past, years ago, and that's not what this step is about. And it did say in AA also, in the AA book, that what was it? The constant patience. What did it say? Hold on 1 second. Let me look. Yeah, content with patient improvement. We need to be content with patient improvement. How cool is that statement? Serenity through patient improvement. And let me add something to that. Conscious contact. Patient improvement and conscious contact. I love the word conscious. We need to make those decisions to be conscious. Yeah. Okay. So that was the 6th step. Are we entirely ready to have Krishna remove these defects of character? Think about that this week, my friends. And next week, we're going to do step 7, which states, we ask Krishna to remove them. We ask him to remove our shortcomings. Isn't it interesting? Those two steps seem like, well, why can't you just make that one step? No. This is a very clear distinction between the 6th and the 7th step, and I will get into that next week. Until then, have a really good week. Remember, your personal Arjana's journey, your personal Arjana's journey is designed just for you. You're not a victim of anything. We are experiencing everything that we experience for us because we need to learn something. Keep that always in the foreground. Okay, my friends, I'll see you next week. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the Monday Shorties. Don't forget to check out our full-length episodes on Thursdays. If you like what you heard, spread the word. Peace out.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.